Welcome to this week's episode of the Success Realtor Podcast by yours truly, Colleen Wood. Here is where we celebrate success in real estate and share the wisdom and struggle so others can be successful too. If you're a new listener, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders, and I'm known for helping realtors earn a lot more money in commissions without selling their soul to the industry and while maintaining balance with what's most important in life. I am so stoked today to be talking to the amazing Billie Parrott, broker with Meridian Real Estate out of Billings, Montana. I have had so much fun getting to know her and seeing her spunky and strong personality and how she is building her brand and business. Billie, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thanks. I love that intro. Can you just introduce me all the time? Just follow me around and introduce me. I was like, wow,
Yes.
that makes me sound great. Love that.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a very busy lady.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I think this is really cool, especially that you're here in Montana and doing this podcast thing. I think it's awesome. It's great.
I love it. I love it. And I love having great guests like you. So this is going to be fun. You guys prepare yourself for a great conversation. Billie is a wealth of knowledge. So let's just dive right in. How did you get started in real estate and what drew you to the business and the lifestyle?
Oh, man. So I was in advertising and marketing sales for 7 years for a little kind of penny saver paper. And, I was making a pretty good living there, commission based, basically salesperson. And one of my friends had bought their first home with this agent. Her name's Jenny Jensen. And they kept telling me how great she was. And so my husband and I were thinking about buying our first house. And so we contacted her and said, hey, will you help us? You helped our friend. Yeah, great. So as we got to know her, she sold us our first house. She said, you would be great in real estate. And I was like, what? Real estate? It wasn't even on my radar. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Thanks though. I'm making a great living. And so it was kind of just always in the back of my mind. And my job at the time, it started going downhill. Things were changing, a new ownership. But I thought, you know what? Why not? I'm just going to do it. And this is in 2009, mind you, the worst time to get into real estate. Everybody said, are you insane? Are you crazy? I had benefits, I had health insurance, and I was making a pretty decent living. And I said, I guess I might be, and I just jumped. And I did actually pretty well my first year in real estate. And so far, I love it. I haven't looked back. It's been 13 years now. And to this day, I actually still work with that broker. We're in the same office. And I always give her kudos, thanks for, tapping me on the shoulder and saying, you'd be good at this. Because I would have never in a million years thought about real estate, ever.
That's something that I love about the real estate industry is that it really allows for people to be successful, climb that ladder, and then reach behind them and pull others up onto the ladder as well. It's just, there's so much business to go around that there's a welcome space for other people to join, and nothing makes you feel better than helping other people, especially other women. I can't help myself. I just love helping other women to be successful too. So I love that you were able to do that with that broker.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, there's so many different avenues that you can go into real estate. You could do commercial, you could do residential, you could do farm and ranch. It's limitless, right? I mean, there's no ceiling as to how much money you make, how hard you want to work. And that's what I love about it is the flexibility. I have 3 kids, and it was nice to be able to, if she had a thing during school, like a performance, I could go. When you're working for a corporation, you can't do that. You can't just leave during the day. So that was one of the benefits too that I saw. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I can actually do things with my kids during the day when I need to. So
I think one of the biggest game changers for me was my son he's 14 now, but he was just a little guy, 3 or 4 years old. And he was going through that ear infection stage. It was the middle of February, and I had already burned through all of my PTO on ear infections. And it wasn't major ear infections. It was just that little low level fever that was kicking him out of daycare. And I had to stay home with him. And I burned through all of my PTO in February. And I just thought at that point, there has to be something different. I have to be able to be in charge of my schedule or be able to work from home when my son is just home watching cartoons because he just has a little fever and can't go to daycare. That
Right.
was a game changer.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that is appealing to people, is the flexibility. And wow, I can make this much money if I work this hard. I mean, so yeah, it's definitely beneficial. I love real estate. And it's funny now, I can never really imagine myself doing anything else other than dancing on Broadway, but that's never going to happen.
Well, can you imagine going back to work for somebody like an 8 to 5? You have like
No,
a certain amount of PTO and oh my gosh,
never.
I can't even, I would be miserable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, never looking back. Making this thing work.
I always tell my husband I'm a one-trick pony. I don't know how to do anything else, so I'm
Right.
gonna stay doing what I do.
Exactly. Yes. I just love to, help people reach their American dream of home ownership. And it doesn't feel like a job, right? When you love what you do, you wake up every day and you're like, hey, I get to help somebody buy a house today, or hey, I get to help somebody achieve their real estate goals. So it's definitely awesome. I love it.
It's all positive, 100%.
Yes.
Okay, so social media is a huge part of your business branding. You have grabbed a hold of that and have run with it. Which platform is your favorite and why?
I love Instagram. Like that's probably my favorite. Instagram and Facebook. I think YouTube is very beneficial. I just have not had very much success. And I learned, so I just went to Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. They have this annual conference every single year. And I learned a lot about YouTube, how to use it. So I'm going to start working on that, putting some more time and effort into the YouTube because I know that people have had success. In fact, when I was there in San Diego, I had a referral from an agent. Their staff member had saw my YouTube video. I was just talking about seasonal affect. What is it? Seasonal something disorder.
Seasonal affective disorder.
Thank you.
Sad.
And yeah, it's sad. And I was talking about that. And for some reason, it caught their attention. And like, this person, you need to call them. They have a great personality, la, la, la. So he called me and said, hey, I've got a referral for you. Can you take it? I'm like, heck yeah, I can take it. So, I mean, that was cool to see that, it is working, just throwing yourself out there. But yeah, I love Instagram because I love the fact that there's a mixture of video, posts. It's a great way to connect with other realtors from around the nation. It's a great way to keep in contact with your sphere because a lot of the people that I'm friends with are on Instagram.
Mm.
And so, and I love Facebook too, but Instagram's my game.
And real estate is such a visual industry. And Instagram allows you to use the visuals of beautiful real estate. And, there's very little real estate in Montana that's not beautiful.
Yeah. And I've got somebody mowing my lawn right now in front of my window. It's like the worst time ever.
I can't hear it. So
good.
We'll just keep going. It was funny. One time I was recording a podcast and they were plowing the snow in front of my office. And it was just like, I was just dying because I was sure that they could hear the beeping of them going in reverse.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what I love about real estate is that we just keep rolling. We just
keep going. You just keep going.
So back to you did a video on seasonal affective disorder. Now, I would not think that would be a real estate topic. Talk to me about how you pick topics and why would you do something like that? And maybe why it's okay to do something that's not just talking about real estate.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So I do a series called Coffee Chat every Friday. And I go live. I go live on Facebook and I go live on Instagram. And typically, sometimes I'll have a guest that I have on, like a business owner or, just somebody that would be of interest, a mortgage broker, things like that, home inspector that I interview. But this particular, when I did SAD, I felt a lot of people were having the same issue because in Montana, we don't see a whole lot of sun, especially this time of the year. And everybody that I was talking to, they're just like, I just don't feel good. I don't feel right. I feel moody. I'm tired all the time. And I was feeling the same exact way. Right.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have a topic that day. It was like, and I'll be honest with you, it was complete last minute. Right. I'm sitting there a half hour before I'm supposed to go on live. And I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I don't have anything. and I want to be consistent. I want to continue to be live every Friday. So I was like, maybe I'll just talk about sad, like what everybody's feeling right now. So I did some research really quick. I had like a half an hour, did some research and, just kind of giving people tips on how to survive through it, how to make the day better and things like that. I had so much response, so many people messaging me on the back channel and saying, hey, thanks for that. I've been experiencing this. I didn't know that's what it was. And so it was a great way to connect with people. And yeah, it was not real estate related at all, but it definitely hit a nerve with a lot of people. And we had a lot of engagement because of that.
Well, you were building a relationship and you were building trust, and people were able to say, me too.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, the seasonal affective is it's something that, just like you said, we all are experiencing it. So it's helpful to have your realtor or your lender not just be somebody that's going to just spew a bunch of real estate stuff at you, but talk
Right.
about real life.
Yeah.
And your home and your investment portfolio with your real estate certainly is a humongous part of your life. But if you're feeling sad, you don't want to go look at real estate in the snow,
Right. Right.
I
Or maybe
always,
you do. Maybe that cheers you up. I don't know.
maybe it does. I always tell my clients, buy when it's snowy. Buy when it's snowy, when nobody else wants to go look at real estate.
That's true. That is true. Well, and another thing on that note, so my husband gives me crap all the time about this. He's like, wow, you really do throw a lot about yourself out there. And I'm like, well, I just feel like, and it's also a great way for me too, to realize like, hey, I'm not the only one that's feeling this, right? Like other people are feeling this. So I had done this post. I had stopped drinking. I decided to stop drinking about 90 days ago. And I had noticed a big difference on my anxiety. So recently I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder, right? It's like, who doesn't have anxiety right now this time? But so I don't know, I was compelled to talk about it. And I did this post on Instagram and Facebook. And the amount of people that said, me too, I'm dealing with that. I stopped drinking. This is what I found from doing that. And it was insane. Like I could not even keep up with all the messages. And I mean, it was awesome. And I was like, wow, I'm glad that I put that out there. And still to this day, people come up to me and they're like, yeah, I did this for my anxiety, or yeah, I stopped drinking too. And I would have had no idea. Right. And so it's just a great way to connect with people, just being vulnerable and just putting yourself out there. And it is not for everybody. I mean, a lot of people are like, no, this is my personal and this is my business. And that's okay too. I mean, whatever works for you, that just is what I have found has helped me personally, even just connecting. Right. And it's a kind of healing for myself too, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. And even like what you're talking about when you go live, when we even do these podcasts, I always feel like it's a therapy session, and
Yeah.
just being able just to talk to somebody and be able to connect and know that it's not just you feeling that way about this business that we're very blessed with, but there is a lot of anxiety that goes along with it, and it's just a higher stress, and we're affecting people's lives, and a lot of times there's a lot of dominoes that are all set up. So it's not just one family's life, it's the next family and the next
Mhm.
family. And there's no option of failure. And you're working with a team. And if one person
Oh,
drops
yeah.
their corner of the table, the whole works falls. And it is a high level of stress. So I'm glad that you talk about that. And I'm glad that you're putting that real message out there. So there is so much information out there on which platforms to use and how. It's a lot for realtors, lenders, title companies, business people in general to process and learn. And I think that just overwhelms people to the point that they just don't.
Right.
What do you think is the simple formula for success with social media and real estate?
Yeah, so you're right. And that's why people get hired, right? To manage social media. Social media managers are a thing and they get paid. They're full-time workers because it's a full-time job. And it is hard to keep up with all the trends and the changes. Like, for instance, Instagram is always changing what they want to see, their algorithms, and it's like hard to keep up, right? So for instance, like last year when I went to Social Media Marketing World, it was all about reels, all about reels.
Mhm.
The guy said, post 2 reels a day in one post, and you're going to gain tons of following, engagement, things like that. So I did that, and I did it on a constant basis. And I tripled my following. And now it is totally reverted back to what Instagram is known for: posts, pictures, carousels. So it's like, okay, reverse, got to try to like redo my marketing. So I would say if you are feeling overwhelmed, focus on one for a while, for, 6 months to a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is your demographic? What is your target audience? And then decide from there, okay, Facebook has this age, right? Instagram has this age. So who is your target audience? Who are you trying to reach? And go with that. Maybe it's LinkedIn. Maybe you're a commercial agent and you want to reach more business owners, more business people. So maybe you want to put more of your effort in LinkedIn, YouTube. So it just look at the insights, look at your demographics, and you can do that on your phone. You can look up your insights on Instagram, who's following you. It was interesting. I did this last year and I had more men followers than women. That has changed. Now it's more women followers than men. So it's just kind of interesting to look at those insights, and it's important to do that just to kind of see where you're at. But there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever works best for you.
Whatever platform that you're going to use.
Yeah.
And you're going to use consistently.
Right.
And whatever version that you like to do, whether or not some people really love to do really wordy posts, some people just love to do videos. And I think, like you're talking about, in doing a smattering of all of those things, but as long as you're doing it consistently is huge.
Consistency is definitely key.
Absolutely.
And I would say, too, one of the things that I learned when you're posting, right? And I know a lot of people struggle with that. What do I post? What content? That's the thing. Content, content, content. Always think of the 3 E's. So educate, entertain. Well, the third one's not an E, it's inspire.
Right. I think
So
it's E squared plus I, or E squared I.
Yeah. So educate, entertain, inspire. So if you're thinking about one of those things when you're posting, you're good, right? Okay, how can I educate my target audience today? How can I entertain them? And sometimes they all intertwine too, right?
Mhm.
Like one of the posts I did was, I think I was doing a TikTok trend. So that's entertaining and educating. So I was doing this dumb, silly TikTok dance, but then I was entertaining and then educating because I was saying what like 150 things a real estate agent does in each transaction. So I was having those like bubbles pop up. So that's educating at the same time. I guess inspiring on that one would just be don't try to do a handstand. I ended up like using a table to help me do a handstand because I couldn't do it. But yeah,
No.
so just have fun with it. That's the biggest thing. If you're not having fun with it, then don't do it. It's a waste of time if you're not having fun.
So talk about TikTok. Are you using it much?
I do. Yeah. But it's TikTok. I still have not figured out their algorithm because I'll post one thing on Instagram and I'll post the same thing on TikTok. I'll get tons of views on Instagram and crickets, or maybe a few views on TikTok. So I haven't quite figured that out yet, but that's okay. Don't stress about the likes, right? As long as you're constantly putting yourself out there, you're going to be seen and people are going to start noticing you. So that's the biggest thing. Don't worry about the likes. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Just keep putting it out there. I don't look at any of my stuff like that. I don't look at the likes. I mean, obviously I comment on the comments because I get notified on that, but I really don't care. I think as part of doing business, I think it's important for us to have a social media presence. So consistency. So on that topic though, how often do you post and do you have a rhythm there?
I know I don't have a rhythm, but I do post every day. So if I'm posting TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and it's funny because my daughter, she's 24 and she's always giving me flack about, Mom, you post too much, you post too much. But that's what you got to do, right? That's what you got to do to keep yourself out there and be consistent in business. So yeah, I post at least one thing a day, if not more. Like I said last year, because that's what the Instagram guru said was to do 2 reels and a post a day. That's a lot. That is a lot of work. And so I'm not really doing that much anymore, but I will most likely post a reel and a post per day.
Mhm.
And then I repurpose that. And that's what's nice is you can repurpose that video, post it on Facebook, post it on TikTok. I am starting to do more into LinkedIn because I'm finding that's kind of the low hanging fruit right now. And not a lot of people are putting themselves out there on LinkedIn. So I'm going to start putting some of that time and putting it into LinkedIn and of course YouTube as well. But yeah, just don't stress about it. Just keep putting things out there, be consistent, and you're going to find out it's definitely going to work. I did a TikTok video and I actually got a call from an agent in Chicago. I do this other character. Her name's Wanda Buy a House. And I don't know if you saw any of that on my social media, but she's like a realtor from the 80s. And because I'm an actor, I also act on the side. And so this was my way of using that, right, to have fun with a character. And she saw that video. She happened to be in Chicago and she called me and said, my mother-in-law in Billings needs to sell her house. I thought you were hilarious. I'm sending her your information, and yeah, referral right there off a silly TikTok video. So
I love that. That's so much fun. I love to, because I did see some of your stuff that I like that you entertain, like you put some humor in it, and it doesn't all have to be so serious. And
no.
I struggle with the real estate modeling, that everything is a perfect, beautiful picture and everything's just perfect all the time. And
Because it's not.
Because it's not. It's not. And, maybe it's just because luxury is just really not. I mean, I do a lot of jumbo working out of Bozeman and Montana and Big Sky and all. I mean, I do a lot of that stuff, but I wouldn't consider myself a luxury lender. More middle of the road is definitely my caveat. My people are more middle of the road. And I don't think that they want to see perfection. I think that they like to laugh. They like to feel good. And when some of your stuff is really funny and you make fun of yourself and, it just makes people smile and feel good and have a positive feeling about you. So that's good.
Yeah. And I know that it's working because I've had people that I didn't even know were watching my stuff because they didn't comment or like, and they would say, oh my gosh, I love your stuff. But I'm like, really? I didn't even know that you watched my stuff. I went to this interior designer gal to buy a gift card and she's like, oh my gosh, I just love your social media. And I'm like, I've never even seen your name comment on anything. So yeah, again, it does work. Just keep putting yourself out there and just have fun with it. That's the biggest thing. Have fun with it and just be you. I mean, you're not going to be somebody else. There's only one you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So circling back to personal content, because I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, is that, the advice that we hear from a lot of the gurus is that we're supposed to mix in personal content and, business content. And I've struggled with that because I don't want to do my hair and makeup on the weekend. And the minute I get home, I am not wearing a bra and my hair's up, my contacts are out, and I just go full troll mode. So I, just really struggle turning the camera around and putting anything that's really personal out there. But what do you think is the right way to do it? And what kind of personal content do you think is the right content to post?
I would say the only thing that I wouldn't do, because there's really no right or wrong, but the one or two things I just would not do is talk about politics and religion, right? Or anything that's controversial. Those things I would keep off the table because you're going to lose half of your audience no matter what, right? But yeah, I've been on the video where I've been sweaty. I just got done running and my face is just blotchy red. My hair is just in disarray and I'm still doing the video, right? Or, I've posted on my stories, and stories is a big thing. So if you don't feel comfortable maybe posting it as a post, just do stories. Stories are huge. I have at least 100 plus people watching my stories every day, and they're connecting. I mean, they'll comment, they'll say something. So it's a great engagement tool. So if you're not doing stories, definitely do that. They say to post, which is a lot. And I do that every day, about 10 to 20 stories a day. And it's just kind of a behind the scenes, and people love that because they're getting the raw you, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had bad days where I'm just like, I had a client terminate, and it's like you said, it's great therapy for me too, because it's a way to vent. And I'll just pop my camera on. I might be in my car having a bad day and I'll just say to the world, hey, this sucks, this happened, and this and that. And other people have had those days. And so that's the way they connect with you. They want to see that you are a real person, right? And so definitely mixing in personal content. And that's what filters are for, right? You don't have makeup on, pop a filter on. I mean, nobody can tell the difference. So I've done that, like, whoa, my face looks horrible. So I might just put a slight filter on just to kind of, buff it out a little bit. And there's no shame. And that's what they're there for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've posted before on stories and been like, thank goodness there's filters today.
Yeah. And everybody uses them, and that's okay.
Mhm. Absolutely. So do you do all of your own content or do you have someone else help you?
I do my own. I'm kind of a control freak that way. I know that there's a lot of people that hire it out, but for me, a lot of it is so organic and I just can't say, here, this is what I want. You know what I mean? So I do my own. And there are certain things that you should do yourself, like stories, obviously, right? You can't have somebody do that for you. But yeah, I just do my own. I take a couple hours out of the day and I don't, and I know a lot of people schedule it. I don't myself because a lot of times I'll just come up with an idea like, oh my gosh, that's a brilliant video or a reel or a post, and then I'll post it. I will say don't over post, like don't just go and vomit everything out. So like if you just have one of those days, this creative, like, oh my gosh, I have all these ideas, list them out and then maybe do like a video day where you feel like you look great. My hair is great. My outfit's great. Go ahead and knock out all those videos, right? Batch them, but then spread them out. Like do one this day, one this day, one this day, if that makes any sense. Because I've
I
seen
keep
people do
like
that.
a I keep like a running list of things that I want to do because I used to have somebody do like 95% of all of my social media. And I felt like it was okay. It was
Yeah,
okay. It was fine. It was filling a blank. We were posting every day. It was fine. And
right.
now we're doing all of it ourselves. And when I say we, my assistant will do like, I'll give her ideas about things I want to post, and then she'll make a Canva for it and put my name on it and all the disclosures and crap. And then I come in, and so we schedule it a week ahead of time. And then I come in and write everything about it. So it's coming
Mhm.
from my words instead of somebody else.
Right.
And then I, of course, do all of my own stories and stuff. And I just think the quality of the content is just so much better when you do it yourself and people want to hear your words.
Yeah. And have you noticed a difference in engagement? The canned stuff versus your own stuff? Like yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a difference. And people can tell.
Well, and
People can
I
tell
think
if it's
right
just
now that's really popular with real estate right now, where people are like taking terms, like real estate terms, and
yeah.
just like writing about it, like just putting a thing on there as a post. And I'm like, stop doing that. It's
Hmm.
It's boring
Yeah.
and everybody is doing it, and I just like, nobody wants to know what a prepaid item is until the day that they need to buy the house. And,
Yeah.
they're not looking for that kind of education, so they wanna know more of, like, day in the life kind of thing of your job, and they're gonna trust you that you're gonna guide them at the time that they need to be guided. So
Yeah, and I would say on that note, the best thing people like stories. They like to hear how this affects them. So yeah, maybe you take a real estate term, but you do a talking head video, right? Like, hey, this is an experience that, this is what you need to know about this closing costs, things like that. Because then people can relate to that. Because like you said, if you're just putting what's a closing cost and you're just, okay, it's just going to go right over their head. But if they can relate it to a story of something that has happened or an experience, and then they're like, "Oh, that makes sense."
yeah.
Otherwise, their eyes are just glazed over, like, "I don't know what is she talking about." It's just it's different language.
Yeah, like, and it looks like everybody else's right now, and
Yep.
I think that there's just a lot of fill in the blank kind of content right now,
Yep.
and I think we can do better. So
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yep.
authenticity is really important to you, and
Yes.
you come across not as anybody else, you're just very much your own authentic self. How did you get over worrying about what other people thought about you or what other people are doing? Do you look at other people's content and try to emulate that, or how do you deal with that?
I think one day I just said, "You know what? I am just going to be me," because I did. When I started out real estate, I was trying to be this avatar of what I thought people wanted, right? In an agent. And I wasn't myself. And I felt that. And one day, I don't even remember what it was. Somebody had made a comment like, what's that? You attract your tribe, right? So I just decided one day, because I have tattoos, I have a nose ring, and I was thought, oh, maybe higher end people aren't going to want to use me because I have tattoos or I have a nose ring. And so I would hide that. And then one day I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to be me. And if someone likes me, great. If they don't, that's okay, because you're not for everybody, and that's all right. And that was the moment where I'm just like, I'm just going to throw it out there. And I haven't really had many people say, oh, no, I'm not using you because of this, that I know of anyway. In fact, it's actually opened up more to people, I feel, just being myself, just being my true self, and not trying to be that perfect, when you watch $1 Million Listing or whatever, that's, poised and, perfect person, lip filler. You know what I mean? No, that's just not me.
It's not me either. And
Yeah.
I remember when I first got into selling my own loans and doing it myself. My hair was super long and we were having professional pictures done. And I just got into my head that if I was going to be a professional woman, I needed to have a professional haircut. And so there was this long phase of trying to figure out what a professional haircut was. And my
Yes.
hair just kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And I'm an outdoor kind of gal. I love riding my horses. I mean, we have a ranch. Like, I need to be able to pull my hair back, And
Yeah.
I remember one day I came home from the hairdresser place trying to get a professional haircut so I would look like the professional I was. And I sat down at the table and my son looked at me and burst out into tears
No.
because I had gotten so far off of who I really am.
Yeah.
And so it's so important. Like you're talking about, you have tattoos and a nose ring. Like people that have tattoos and a nose ring are your people.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of people that are, especially now in this day and age, I feel like it's more uncommon to not have tattoos and a nose ring
That's
than
true.
it is to have tattoos and a nose ring. So it's just, you just got to do you, and you don't want to work with people that don't like you. So
Yes.
they look at your social and they're like, I don't like her. And it's the authentic you. You don't want to work with them anyways.
Exactly. Yeah, because this is who you are. I mean, this is you.
This is it.
Yeah. You get what you get, right? And that's a lot of times people don't want to do video. They say, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound.
Mhm.
It's you. I mean, when you meet with your clients, they're going to hear the way you sound. They're going to see the way you look, right?
This
And
is how you look when you go to the grocery store.
yeah, right. And the thing is that with video, you can kind of, adjust. You can put a filter on. You can make yourself look a little bit better. So just do the video. Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Well, that's
Yeah.
phenomenal advice to end on. Billie, this was so much fun. And I hope that the takeaway for you realtors out there that you're listening to this is just get out there and do it. Be okay with failing. Be okay with just going and being your own nerdy self. And your nerdy self is awesome and exactly who somebody wants to be hearing from. So definitely just get out there and do it. Thanks so
Yep.
much, Billie. This was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Just as a reminder, I'm the producing branch manager of the Wood team at Hometown Lenders. We are known for three things. Number one, we close on time. Number two, we keep our realtors in the sales seat at all times by keeping them updated on their transactions. And number three, when you entrust us with a lead, we follow up on that lead until they buy, fly, or die. Leads are never lost to our lack of follow-up. Our number one priority is for you to earn more money in commission so you can improve the lives of your family, community, and in turn, our country. So can I count on you for that next buyer lead? I would love to work with you too. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please just reach out to my office. All right, we'll talk to you when you call in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Success Realtor Podcast. Bye-bye.